So Ron Zombie, the loose cannon Knuckles,
Yeah.
pulls one out over the Gladiator. Are you comfortable?
Yeah, that's a pay-per-view main event match anywhere in the country, isn't it?
Oh, indeed. It's about as good as Valentine versus Silvano Sousa.
Hey, come on. Silvano Sousa's a wrestling legend.
So anyway, Ron Zombie pulling one out on the Gladiator, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't know, Ron Zombie challenging for some championship gold here in Wrestling Star Wars. It could happen. This guy, while he's very strange in person and very strange activities go on the outside of the ring, he certainly is an accomplished star in Wrestling Star Wars.
Well, like I said before, anybody that's... I think I'm having a problem with my mic. Like I said before, anybody that's been under the tutelage of Jim Cornette during their career has, you know, got one... Got a boogie hanging on me or something. Has one up on everybody. If you've been under the tutelage of Jim Cornette, hey, let's face it, James E. Cornette is a legendary manager, and just hanging around him, you're going to pick up something, right?
Do you realize that you put that down? There's no wire in there. It's a prop, for crying out loud.
Foolish.
I don't have to try, believe me. It's easy.
I don't know if this mic's even working. Pat, you getting the feed? Testes, 1, 2. Is it on?
Not exactly clean cut, is Ron Zombie.
No, he's not.
But he could be a champion in 2001 as the roster continues to grow and the stars continue to come out for Wrestling Star Wars.
Well, I suppose if Mike Lee wins the coveted New England Heavyweight Championship, Ron Zombie does have a shot at winning that belt.
I don't think we're going to see Mike Lee participating in any main events anytime soon here in Wrestling Star Wars.
What is his ethnic background? Is he a Chinaman?
He's Oriental.
Yeah, well, that covers a lot of bases.
Coming up next week, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a look at the uncontrollable monster, B.A.D., Brian Day. He'll be taking on Jamie Payne.
Well, this kid, Jamie Payne, is very reminiscent of Balls Mahoney from ECW in appearance, but in ability, I would, not say that comparison is accurate.
Also, Freight Train Dan is on the card. Wait till you get a load of this guy, well over 300 pounds. He'll be taking on Arch Kincaid. And I've said, oh, go ahead, please.
Well, Freight Train Dan is someone that I've known for many years in wrestling. He's a formidable opponent for anybody on any given night, and he's also very dependable if you want to rent his ring from him.
And again, he'll be taking on Arch Kincaid, and I've said this from day one. If Arch Kincaid could learn to shut his mouth long enough to participate actively in a wrestling match, he may gain a victory.
You know, Arch Kincaid, you can go on for hours and hours. Very articulate, somewhat of a prima donna, definitely a Jim Morrison wannabe, but most of all, the thing that will stand out in my mind in the entire year of 2000 was the fact that he refused to take a shot at slamming the human tripod Big Woody, which to me makes him a big...
Well, it made no sense. I mean, the guy could have been $1,000 richer, fans, and he just refused to do it. One thing you did not... Oh, go ahead.
Even if you know you don't have a shot at doing it, you would at least want to get out there and give it a try, because like you said, the worst thing that can happen is you're going to end up with a G-note in your pocket.
Speaking of G-notes in your pocket and things that you were not afraid to participate in, the big Canadian tour. You garnered a couple of victories.
Are you sure?
Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Quebec.
Are you sure you didn't get that gift certificate that I sent you for Christmas?
I did not get anything in my mailbox from you.
I'm going to have to look into that. I'm going to have to do some sort of postal search because I sent you a gift certificate for Bugaboo Steakhouse.
Really?
Yeah, but you didn't get it?
No. It's a good thing.
What was the question?
Waiting for it.
Well, I got so hammered the other night on New Year's Eve at the Grog I can hardly think. What was the question?
The Canadian tour. Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Quebec.
Well, Rick Martel called me up about a month ago and told me that he had some dates for me up there in Canada if I wanted to come. Would you believe that I was booed out of every town that I wrestled in wearing this shirt? Would you believe that?
Really?
Yeah, booed everywhere. And I have to admit one thing, the highlight of the tour for me was getting to wrestle in Saskatoon. Because as you know, a very famous title change took place in Saskatoon some years back, featuring Bret the Hitman Hart and Ric Flair.
Yes, 1992.
You remember that date, huh, Mark?
We're glad you can join us, ladies and gentlemen. Perhaps Knuckles Nelson will be taking on another 7-year-old next week. Maybe you'll win one of these days.
I still think that they need to beef up security down here in Adelphia. How did those little rugrats get in here in the first place?
Hey,
And you see that kid with an illegal pen?
looked good to me. It was a clean 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000.
Well, definitely a couple of good-looking kids, but I gotta say, I can't imagine that they would have picked I Love Books over This Week in Wrestling. I mean, which two is more important for children to watch?
For Knuckles Nelson, I'm Brian Webster. We certainly would like to hear from you. WSW Mail at webtv.com. Is it .com or .net? I can never remember.
I believe it's .net.
Thank you.
But I want to ask you another question. What was it like working with that fat sow, Big Woody, over the last 3 weeks? It must have been horrible for you.
First of all, he's not a fat sow. Second of all, he's very articulate, and he's extremely knowledgeable.
Are you trying to say
in
that
professional wrestling.
You enjoyed working with him?
As a matter of fact, I did. And you may even find this difficult to believe, but I actually enjoy working with you some of the time.
Well, I'm so choked up by that right now, I could just puke all over myself.
We'll see you next week right here, ladies and gentlemen, on This Week